Hey everyone. So I had a couple questions over the last couple months. Just some people asked me how I do color, and I think that the recent question that somebody gave me on YouTube was, I'd like to know what your process is for using color, and that made me stop and think, what is that process? And so I looked back through a bunch of my photos over this last year or so, and I decided that I don't really have a consistent process for all my photos, but I do have some things that are consistent that I've kept the same over the last year. And it's got three basic steps. So number one is I'm usually shooting or I'm switching my raw color profile to classic negative on the Fujifilm cameras. So the X-T4, the X-E4, the X100V, those are my main cameras that I'm using. X Pro 3 too. And I'm using the classic negative. That's my baseline. I really like the way it looks. It matches the feeling I'm trying to get in my photography. That's number one. Number two is I'm warming my photos up quite a bit. So classic negative is a little bit on the cooler side. I love what it does to the colors and everything like that. I love the feel of the photographs, but I think they're a little bit too cold for what I'm shooting. I warm them up a little bit. And then number three, the third thing I do is I look at specific photo edits, specific things in my photo that I want to bring out. And I usually do selective editing, and I actually boost the color in different parts of the photographs depending on what the photo is to get the most out of it and to direct the viewer to where I want them to look. So let's go ahead and take a look at some photos and let's edit them a little bit, showing you that process. So let's go to some underexposed photographs that I just went and took. This was just me pointing out. I was in the passenger side of the van. I'm just pointing out at the street, taking snapshots on the way, and I was underexposing because the sky was quite a bit brighter than anything else. So I brought the levels down. So what I'm doing on something like this is I'm setting my baseline to classic negative. All right. So then I'm going to boost everything up. I'm going to really boost my shadows. I'm going to work on my contrast just a touch, boost it up a little bit more, and then I'm warming it up a touch. That looks pretty good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to now select the sky. So I'm using the masking tool in Lightroom to select the sky. It does a really amazing job. And then I'm going to take that down a little bit to bring that back. Once I do that, I wanted to kind of give the photo a little bit of a nighttime sunset-y type of feel. You know, there's like a little bit of color in the sky just to add some drama, add some interest to it, right? Just for the heck of it. And I'm pressing the plus button to create a new mask. And I'm going to do a radial gradient, and we're going to do one in like the sky right around right there. And basically what I'm doing is I'm going to the purple tint area and boosting the saturation just a touch. And I think that's pretty cool. There. Not bad. So within a few minutes, I go from that to that, which I think is pretty cool. It needs a little bit more work. Like I would do a little bit, the horizon's not straight, stuff like that. Let's go to another one. This one is another example, really easy one. So this one I just switched to classic negative. It already looks pretty cool, increases the contrast, it makes the blacks fade a little bit, and then I'm going to just boost it a tiny bit on the exposure, and I'm definitely going to warm it up quite a bit. Suddenly you get that really golden, rich photo that I was going for in the field. So lately I've been really shooting with classic negative in my mind to get that kind of a shot. This one is another one. Cool little scene. It was fun to go on this hike, and I'm just going to warm this up quite a bit, and I'm going to take my whites and boost my whites, and that's it after I change it to classic negative. From start, my cat is losing her mind. From start to finish, right? That is really cool. The golden field looks amazing. I love the way that looks. This one, same thing. We're going to switch the profile to classic negative, and I'm going to then warm the heck out of this up so that comes out a little bit more, and that's almost it. The one last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to warm the leaf up, so I'm going to select subject, and it should catch that. Oh, look at that. It caught it really well. I'm going to brighten up just a touch, and then I'm going to warm that aspect of the photo up. Oh, that's cool. That looks good. Let's look at this one. We're going to go ahead and go to the profile classic negative. I'm I'll boost everything a little bit, and then I need a lot more warmth. And I'm going to take my whites and boost those. Man, start to finish. That looks pretty cool. Same thing here. Let's go from the color to classic negative. I'm going to increase the contrast, boost my whites a little bit, and then I'm going to warm everything up. Really cool contrast. The classic negative gives some really good feel to the shadows, right? It makes the contrast look fantastic. And then this one was a lot of fun. I knew I was going to struggle because the sky was really bright behind the house, and I didn't want to blow the sky completely out. So there weren't too many options for me. I did bracket this, but I ended up only using one photo instead of the bracketed sequence. And if my camera's moving and stuff, because my cat is losing her mind. So we're going to boost that a little bit. We're going to change the profile to classic negative. And we're going to warm the heck out of everything. And I'm going to increase my shadows just a little bit. Now, that looks pretty decent, but I know that the original photo, the one that I posted in my video, was that. So I have more work to do, right? On this one, I am going to draw attention to the house and the leaves, the ground in front of it. And I'm going to do a radial gradient. Pretty big one. I'm going to get mostly the house. I'm boosting the shadows on the house. I'm brightening up with the exposure, everything. And then I'm going to warm the heck out of that spot right there. I'm going to lower my whites just a touch. It looks a little hot. But that looks pretty good. From there to there. But just, what was that? 45 seconds or so? Same thing over here. We're going to go and change the color profile to classic negative. And then I'm going to boost everything a little bit. And I'm going to warm the heck out of everything. And on this one, I am going to make a radial gradient. So I'm going to go to the masking, radial gradient. And I really like to do this. Pull the color a little bit more into the middle. Increase the shadows just a touch. So then we're looking a little bit more at the tree. And then I'm going to use a vignette. Where's the vignette? And I'm going to make the edges a little bit darker. Before and after. That classic negative combined with some of the white balance boosting, the warmth boosting, looks fantastic. And same thing right here. We're going to change the profile to classic negative. And all I really did on this one was boost the warmth. And then I cropped this is my head shadow. I have a giant head. So I got to get rid of the shadow of my head down at the bottom. And that's about it for that one. Looks pretty cool. So yeah, just 3 basic edits. Number 1, I'm using classic negative as my baseline. Number 2 is I am warming the entire photo up usually. And then number 3 is some selective edits, some selective color adjustments sometimes. Like this one here. Let's do this one real quick. I know I'm talking over and over again. I'm going to do my radial gradient. I'm going to go into the middle, and then I'm going to warm just that part up a little bit. And that does help to draw the viewer's eye into that spot just a touch, right? From there to there. That's pretty cool. I love it. All right, so that's my pretty quick and easy way that I edit these photographs. Hope you enjoy. Ask me questions, and we'll see you next time.